they've decided to move forward with you on your book. Congratulations! Now on to the more detailed stuff and technical jargon. This is going to be a bit meatier of a vlog, so be prepared. And by be prepared, I mean continue watching. We chatted again on another video call. We, as in the gentleman I had the first discovery call with, I kind of equate him to like the gatekeeper of their business. We talked about what they thought of the book and what services they thought I could benefit from to get my book up and running. They were so complimentary about my book. They were so nice. It was very nice. Something that I do recommend is that it's gonna be very obvious, but do tell them that you are brand new to all this stuff. Don't not do any research and just let them handhold you through the whole entire process. Yes, they are a company and you can have a healthy amount of trust, but it is always good to educate yourself and just do a ton of research behind the scenes. You don't want anyone taking advantage of you. I don't want anyone taking advantage of you. It's so cold. Okay, so after I had the second video call, I was sent a proposal. Very scary. Again, he was so nice and said, feel free to reach out with any questions that I have. And at this time, I was referred to another person who I would be working more closely with. Now, to be honest, I didn't know what a proposal was. And the fact that in the proposal, it wanted me to sign something, I was just a little wary about signing something before I fully understood what a proposal was. I wasn't sure if this was a contract or not. Hold on, let me put this right here. Let me try to explain it in the best way that I know how. And by doing so, I'm going to refer to my computer. A proposal is a preliminary, non-binding offer that details services and pricing intended to win business. You guys are going to be hearing my neighbors, and I'm really sad about it. A contract is a legally binding agreement that finalizes the terms and obligations once a proposal is accepted. Proposals are part of the sales process, focusing on benefits and possibilities, whereas contracts are legal documents designed for protection and clarity, outlining specific details like payment schedules, liabilities, and dispute resolutions. So the proposal is just the services that they intend to offer me, the client, and how much it's going to cost. So once you are given a proposal, do write down any and all questions that you have at this stage. You can ask friends and family if you're comfortable with it, to have them read through it and see if they come up with any questions. Don't just sign it. There may be errors and things that need to be corrected. Spoiler alert, I was sent a revised proposal because I found some things that needed to be amended. Think and ask any and all questions and write them down. Put my teacup down. I had a question about copyright. It was a little ambiguous in the proposal on whether I maintained the copyright, so I wrote that down. My dad asked about royalties because it wasn't clear, so I wrote that down. We were curious on whether or not they take a percentage or a fee out of each individual book that I sell, so we wrote that down. A friend of mine told me to ask about licensing, and to be honest, I'm still fully not sure on what licensing all entails, but I wrote that down. And lastly, I had a question about the amount of editors that were listed in my proposal. Okay, teeny tiny story time. From our previous conversations that we'd had, and referring to the notes that I had taken, I was a little confused because our first and second conversation didn't quite match what was stated in the proposal. I looked through it with a fine-tooth comb. It was only 4 pages, but still. Number one, my book is about 60,000 words. It's not over, it's about 60,000 words. And he recommended for my first book, and the fact that it was a YA novel, that it be reduced down to 55,000 words. Being a newbie in the industry, I was quite shocked because I thought that 60,000 was actually quite low. but I trusted them, the professionals, and I said as much. But he did say that the price of paper is actually going up, and so more and more books are shooting for that 55,000 word count as standard. This, I'm sure, excludes fantasy. But apparently, a rough estimate of 55,000 words is around 200 pages, which is just shocking to me. I don't like that, just still sounds so small. The second thing, he also stated that my book reads at a 7th and 8th grade reading level. That's not bad, but if that's not my target audience, then I would need a content editor to help elevate the reading level. He did tell me that there is a boom in the homeschool community market. So this book, if I didn't raise the reading level, could do nicely in that market. I did wrestle with this because it would require, if I decided to get a content editor, it would require more time and more money. But ultimately, I wanted the content editor. I knew it would cost more, but I wanted it mostly for educational purposes. As a writer, I wanted to see how do you elevate your story to be more in the 7th and 8th grade reading level. And as a side, I did not want to be pigeonholed into the 7th and 8th grade target audience because my other books, and yes, I am writing other books at the moment, they're more steered towards adults. With all that backstory, when looking at the initial proposal, it stated only a copy editor and a proofreader for a word count of about 45,000 words. Again, I was confused because that did not align with our previous conversations. I did not want 15,000 words of my book to be removed. I was okay with 5,000, but not 15,000. Now, I want to state that there was no wrongness in this on either side. This was just an initial proposal. This is just a prime example of just asking all the questions that you can think of to educate yourself as well as get exactly what you want and need for your book. As I stated previously, I had been handed off to another person whom I'd be working with more closely. At this time, I emailed this nice lady and told her that I had some questions and suggested some dates and times that I'd be available for her to respond with at her convenience. I said this all in one email to kind of keep the ball rolling swiftly. We hopped on a Zoom call. Again, extremely terrifying because Zoom did not save my password, so I forgot my password and then I had to recreate a new password and I was afraid that I was going to be at least 1 minute late and it was just so terrifying. I asked all of my questions and I was really nervous about asking them, which is really funny because I was afraid that they were going to get offended or angry at my questions. But in the long run, you shouldn't feel that way because it's your book and you are just truly educating yourself. There's no harm in that and asking these questions. She was not going to get offended. She didn't get offended. In fact, she was so nice. And she said that I had some really great questions and that, I'm gonna put this down here. And some of them she said that she would have to get back with me, specifically the content editor and the word count. But she answered all of my questions to my liking. And like I said, she was so nice and so helpful. What the heck is that? Today is the day that everyone wants to make a ton of noise. I understand that the world does not revolve around me. I just find it inconvenient. With all of that, here's what to expect, sort of, in our proposal. Again, all proposals are going to vary and be different and tailored to each individual. Now, I can't show you my exact proposal, but I'm gonna show you the gist and break it down and explain to you what was in mine. Okay, so within your proposal, it may look something like, it'll say at the top, item, and then to the right of it, it'll say pricing. I'm not gonna show you or talk about the pricing quite yet, but let's just talk about the items underneath it. So underneath the item, the first thing that they recommended were the editors that you will need and the word count involved, and then it will be priced accordingly. The next item was inside the book. So formatting, they're providing that for me. Formatting, typesetting, and all that good stuff. If you had graphics, they would add the graphics in. Then the next item is going to be the cover. Cover design, they said, is super, super, super important. I actually had already designed my own cover. Now, granted, I am not a professional, but I did do a bunch of research and had like 7 different cover examples, and I gave them to a young adult female group, which is kind of what my book is tailored towards. And out of the 7, I said, which one does your eye draw to? Is that the right phrase? Anyway, they all went to this one particular. And so I thought that, well, hey, that was like 5 or 6 girls, young women, that all went for the same one. So at least I have something there. So I went ahead and mentioned that to them, and they were like, great, we want to see it, and we would like to, so we can have like a foundation to work off of. So they're going to work with you on your cover if you would like. Then there is the ISBN number. For this particular company, they are going to own the ISBN number of my book, and that's fine for me. I don't care. That's not necessarily going to ruin any kind of rights that I have. It's basically just, from what I understand, it's just gonna, if you scan the ISBN number, it's gonna see what other books the company that I'm working with have also published. So I was fine with them owning the ISBN number. Maybe down the road I will have my own. But anyway, for my first book, I was like, that's fine. So the next one is the copyright. They're gonna help me get my book copyrighted, and they're gonna, shoot, what's it called? Where they're gonna do something, they're gonna like, what do you call it? Where like it's something with the Library of Congress. Oh my gosh. But they're gonna help me with that. So then the book is mine. The copyright is mine. They get nothing. Then it said underneath how many prints I wanted for family or friends. And I just said 10 for right now. I don't know a whole lot of people. And then the next one was like distribution, which is like setting up your book on the places that you're going to sell them. They had, I think they recommended Amazon. They're going to help me with Ingram Spark. And I want to say there was a third one. And I'm sorry, it's just gone right now. That is what the proposal pretty much looked like. Okay, so that was the gist of the proposal. I cared about everything, but my biggest concerns were making sure that I owned the copyright and I had all the royalties, which I maintain still. After a few days, I was sent a revised proposal with the copy editor, the content editor, and the proofreader with a 60,000 word count. Everything else was the same. I talked it over with my husband. I cried a little bit about how much of our hard-earned money we were forking over. Then I signed the proposal. I received an email instantly with the signed proposal to save for my records. At this time, I haven't paid them yet. I am just accepting the services intended for my book and the pricing for it. Oh no! My tea! At this time, I emailed this nice lady. Wow,